Welcome to the first installment of This Week in Gaming, in which I'll be discussing several video game related news, rumors, and events that occurred throughout the week. Now, with this being the first episode, the news is going to be very light, but without further delay, let's get right on to the topics. Earlier this year, Netflix announced their plans to invest into the mobile gaming space, but it seems they may be aiming for more than just mobile games with the acquisition of Oxenfree and after-party developer Night School Studio. Following the announcement, Netflix put out a statement saying, quote, "We're inspired by their bold mission to set a new bar for storytelling in games. Their commitment to artistic excellence and proven track record make them invaluable partners as we build out the creative capabilities and library and Netflix games together. When looking at the style of games created by Night School Studios, this acquisition isn't all too surprising. What I am curious about though is if future acquisitions will focus on developers that create similar content, or could we possibly see the next Call of Duty style game published by Netflix? Only time will tell, but it is looking to be interesting moving forward when it comes to games with Amazon and stepping into the gaming space where they've been here for a while now. Google Stadia, if Google's still hanging in there or something, and now we have Netflix, so fun times are ahead. Alright, so this next news story, I will admit, I did not see this coming, not in a million years. I don't know what to say. Okay, all terrible jokes aside, Sony has officially acquired Bluepoint Studio, the team behind the Shadow Colossus remake, as well as the more recent Demon's Souls remake for the PS5. This makes them the fourth studio acquired by PlayStation this year, with previous acquisitions being Housemarque, Firesprite, and Nixxes Software. In the acquisition video, Bluepoint stated that they don't have anything to announce in terms of a new project, but given the massive history of the PlayStation brand, I am curious to see what they will tackle next. I would personally love to see a Legend of Dragoon remake. I know many have requested a Metal Gear Solid remake if they can work out anything with Konami, and maybe, just maybe, we could probably get a Resistance remake, seeing as Insomniac is currently working on a lot of projects themselves. But I will say, if Bluepoint wants to go the route of creating original content as well, I do not have any issue with that. This year has been quite the year when it comes to acquisition. Mentioned before, Netflix has acquired their own studio. Nintendo acquired a studio with Next Level Games. As I said, Sony acquired 4 prior studios to this news. Microsoft deal with the ZeniMax acquisition, which was made last year, finalized earlier this year, and people are still going on rumor with Take-Two being acquired by Microsoft. So these next few years, months are going to be interesting, and I can't forget that Herman Hulst even stated himself that PlayStation is not done with making acquisitions. Now, this next news story comes from the VGC as well as Gematsu, in which it is rumored that major Konami franchises, Castlevania, Metal Gear Solid, and Silent Hills, may have new entries on the way. Castlevania is supposedly being developed internally, whereas Metal Gear Solid is being developed by external studio Virtuous, and by some crazy possibility, Kojima is working with Sony to revive the Silent Hills. Now, the reason I say crazy possibility mainly comes from, if you don't know, there is a huge fallout with Kojima and Konami, which is the reason why Kojima is currently working on his own and has worked side by side with Sony with games such as Death Stranding. And not only that, but we've had rumors of Bloober Team, the guys behind the Medium, possibly working on a new Silent Hills game. The game Abandoned by Blue Box. I don't even want to get into the story about Blue Box that happened a few months ago. Just know that Silent Hills has been in the headlines for the longest of times now in terms of receiving some type of remake or revival. Now, whether or not this is true, again coming from VGC as well as Gematsu, only time will tell if these rumors turn out to be true. But given the success of the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes, I would not be surprised if we do see a remake or revival of the Silent Hill franchise. And given the excitement that fans had when they were speculating if Abandoned was going to be Silent Hills, there is definitely interest for these franchises to come back. And hopefully Konami has seen that and they're actually considering working on that, as I would personally like to see a new Metal Gear Solid game. I'm still a little heartbroken when I saw Metal Gear Solid 3 and it was a pachinko machine, so I'm kind of sad about that one. But yeah, moving on to the next news story. Cut. IGN hosted a greatest game of all time bracket, pitting critically acclaimed games such as Red Dead Redemption, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy VII, and Grand Theft Auto V against each other to see what is considered the greatest game of all time. After receiving 26 million votes across YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram with a total of 64 games, it was decided that God of War 2018 will be crowned the greatest game of all time, with Grand Theft Auto V as the runner-up. Now, God of War 2018 was a phenomenal game back when I first played through it, with my only regret being that I did my first and only playthrough on Give Me God of War mode. Needless to say, the joggers kicked my ass and I have yet to defeat all the Valkyries even 3 years later. Do I completely agree with the results? I'm gonna keep that to myself, but I will say the people over at Sony Santa Monica deserve the praise, and I'm definitely looking forward to God of War Ragnarok when it releases. And that about wraps things up for this first episode. If you have any thoughts of any of the topics, such as the results of greatest game of all time or the acquisitions, let me know down below. Also, any feedback will be greatly appreciated. But until next time, happy gaming. Oh, and I almost forgot, today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by H2O, because without it, I wouldn't be here. Thank you for sponsoring this video.